Humans have a part in the history of stories. Stories would be told by our ancestors and passed down through the generations. The introduction of the printing press in the 15th century led to the production of books and stories being duplicated many times. It is now easy to find a copy of a book. You can either go to your local library and read the book, or you can order it online. There are not many places to find the books we mentioned. These books are of the most rare types in history. The author decided to print fewer copies, which causes them to be rare. There are two things that are common among books on our list today. They are historically or culturally significant and are extremely hard to find. The first book on the list is a classic from the author Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice was the most famous of her works. It was not very well received. Scholars at that time thought it was a bit of a joke. Although the novel was seen as unimportant at the time of its publishing, it is one of the most beloved novels written by a female writer of all time. It was printed in 3 separate volumes. Some of the rarest books in existence are the first edition copies. In 2010, the sale of the first edition of Pride and Prejudice was the most recent. The first edition of the book sold for over $185,000 at the time. At number 9, the book on our list is Tale of Peter Rabbit, written by Beatrix Potter. Another Potter had a reputation for being famous in children's literature. A century before Harry Potter was a household name. The Tale of Peter Rabbit was written and released by Beatrix Potter. The book is only 56 pages, and it's only one book. Like many books on the list, it has been reproduced many times. In 36 languages, The Tale of Peter Rabbit has sold over 40 million copies. The original first edition printing only produced 250 copies. Potter wanted to distribute her book to her family and friends. One of the originals sold in 2016 for more than $50,000. But it's not known where all the copies are. At number 8, the book on our list is On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, written by Nicolaus Copernicus. The fathers of modern astronomy are named after Nicolaus Copernicus. His heliocentric universe theory is the most significant impact he has left on the scientific community. The idea is that the sun is the center of the universe. Astronomers thought that the Earth was the center of the universe for hundreds of years. At the time, he was concerned about his place in society and how his model would be received. His death was considered a disgrace for this type of thinking. The Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres were released on his deathbed. It is rare to have 250 copies left, and they are extremely influential. The price for individual copies of the historical libraries could be up to $2 million. Many of them are owned by individuals. At number 7, the book on our list is First Folio of the Heavenly Spheres, written by William Shakespeare. When you think of books and stories, one man has a greater impact than anyone else: William Shakespeare. A large part of his significance stems from his First Folio, sometimes called Mr. William Shakespeare's Comedies, Histories, and Tragedies. This book contains 36 plays written by Shakespeare, including some of his most famous: The Tempest, Romeo and Juliet, and Much Ado About Nothing. Shakespeare's First Folio was originally printed back in 1623, 7 years after his death. Originally, only 750 copies were made of the folio. Of those, about 240 remain, making this iconic piece of literature one of the rarest and most important books of all time. After all, many of these stories may have been lost forever to history without Shakespeare's First Folio. At number 6, the book on our list is Birds of America of the Heavenly Spheres, written by James Audubon. Birds of America was originally written and illustrated by John James Audubon. Birds of America has beautiful drawings of different birds. The assistant of Audubon, Joseph Mason, is said to have drawn about 50 background images, despite Audubon's complete writing and painting of the entire book. Some of the birds contained in this book have gone extinct, which is one of the things that makes this book unique. The book pictures were sent out as a subscription in the 19th century. There is a complete set in Texas at the Stark Museum of Art. Audubon had a personal copy. There is debate over the number of copies in existence, and it is believed to be between 1 and 200. A full copy could sell for as little as $8 and as much as $12 million. Birds of America is a wonderful book that depicts birds in early America, so it makes sense that it is so rare and valuable. At number 5, the book on our list is Tamara and Other Poems written by Edgar Allan Poe. There is an enormous legacy of horror stories by the man known as Edgar Allan Poe. His best-known works are The Raven and The Telltale Heart. He died at 40 years of age and never received the recognition for his talent that he deserved. He became famous only after his death. Tamara and Other Poems only had 50 copies printed in the first edition. As the legend of Poe grew after his death, scholars began searching for his other works. The first edition of Tamara and Other Poems sold for more than $600,000 in 2009. The collection is not very long, about 40 pages in length. Like many of the poems and stories that he wrote, the life of Poe is similar. He will never know the impact he had on literature because he did not receive the recognition he deserved in his lifetime. First edition copies of Tamara and Other Poems are not available for checkout at the Huntington Library in New York. The Edgar Allan Poe Museum is located in Richmond, Virginia. At number 4, the book on our list is the Gutenberg Bible. The printing press was invented in Germany in the 15th century by Johannes Gutenberg. The Bible was the first book printed on a press. The first mass-produced book in world history is the Gutenberg Bible. Before this time, it was possible to copy books by hand or other inefficient processes. About 175 copies were printed in the early years of the 20th century. Almost all copies have been lost since then. There are currently 25 full copies in existence, 10 of which are in the US and the other 15 in Germany. A complete copy of the Gutenberg Bible sold for more than $2 million in 1978. A full copy sold for more than $5 million in 1988. Only a small number of Gutenberg Bibles have been sold for $100,000 or more. The method in which the copies of the Bible were made is not the reason that this book is unusual on our list. At number 3, the book on our list is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll wrote the first edition of the novel, Alice's Awakenings. Only 6 of these are in the hands of people, and the rest are in prestigious libraries. John Tenniel illustrated this book in 1865. The book was originally supposed to have 2,000 copies, but a new edition was created because Tenniel was dissatisfied with the copy of his artwork. The original first version of the book was given to close friends and family by Carroll. The first edition prints of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland are very rare, costing more than $2 million in the year 2006. This book has inspired many movies and TV shows at a small 200-page size. If you told him that a single copy of his book would be worth over $2 million, he would have thought it was a lie. At number 2 on our list, the book is The Canterbury Tales, written by Geoffrey Chaucer. The book The Canterbury Tales has stood the test of time. The stories of different people were told in the 15th century. There are many different tales to be told, such as The Knight's Tale, The Friar's Tale, and The Squire's Tale. The first edition of the Canterbury Tales was printed in 1477. Only 12 of those original printings have been accounted for as of today. In 1998, the most recent sale of an original printing took place. Sir Paul purchased the first edition for $4 at the time. There are 5 million. The books will only become more expensive as time goes by, because the original printing is so old. At number 1 on our list, the book is the Codex of Lisle, written by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci has a wide range of things to his name. He was an inventor, an astronomer, a mathematician, a philosopher, and a prolific writer. He has many of his personal scientific observations in his personal notebook. Water, air, fossils, astronomy, and more are some of the topics that are covered in this book. There is only one copy of the Codex Lisle left in the world, and it is the only book on this list. Different people got Da Vinci's personal notebook after his death. The first Earl of Leicester was Thomas Coke, followed by Giuseppe Gezzi and Guglielmo della Porta. American Armand Hammer bought the codex from the Leicester Earls in 1980. Bill Gates bought the property for more than $30 million, 14 years after he first purchased it. He is the owner of the codex. Gates paid $1 for the 18 handwritten sheets of the book, 6 million pages. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was informative. Do comment, subscribe, and like if you want to see more interesting videos.